ugly, unfinished, unoccupied homes. That creates a lot of problems, 2 to 3 times what the regular prices are. Things that people cannot afford, identify violations. 79 illegal villas were built. Locals cannot afford it. They weren't allowed to build housing on that land. Foreign investors and locals as well will not have the certainty. The inspectors discovered over 900 cases. More than 700 homeowners have had their homes demolished this year. What is the main reason? It is the unscrupulous developers or investors who built on public lands. In other words, 774 villas are being taken down and the number continues to grow. So if you're looking to buy property here in Vietnam, how do you know it's going to be safe and not demolished? So in Vietnam, it's slightly different than the United States. In the US, if you have a mortgage, a promissory note, and you continue to pay your mortgages every single month, then you should be safe in your property. The Vietnam real estate landscape market is much different. So you might even lose your property even though you didn't pay property taxes, which Vietnam has none, but because you didn't have the rights in the first place to build that property, it may have been on public land. And in this video, we're going to talk about a real life scandal that's happening in one of Vietnam's main tourist destinations, how it happened, and the potential impacts on the Vietnam market. Moreover, we're going to give you a guide on how you can protect yourself, buy property in Vietnam, and avoid being demolished or repossessed by the government. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video, so let's get started. So hello, my name is Ken Duong, international and business immigration lawyer with over 15 years of experience helping individuals, companies, and different investment funds buy properties all over the world, including Vietnam, United States, Portugal, Grenada, and many, many other parts of Europe. But before we get into our video today, make sure that you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment below if you're looking to buy real estate, and of course click on the bell for notifications. So let's talk about the current situation. If you live in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, or one of the big cities, and you really want to buy a place in the beach resort, be able to relax on the weekends, also have a vacation home, or move there, you're looking at a place similar to Phu Quoc, which is an island. It's off the coast of Cambodia in the Gulf of Thailand, and it is really beautiful. It's very similar to Phuket, Thailand, about 25 years ago. Great thing, it's lined with palm trees. Beaches are very nice and nice sand as well. However, Phu Quoc is special because actually half of Phu Quoc, or 50%, is considered public lands, which is National Forest of Phu Quoc. And it all begins with this public land violations and building without proper permits. So in April of this year, inspectors found quite a few problems. Number one, improper use of land. So there were houses being sold, about 202 of them were being sold, and roughly about 80 of them had many, many issues because they weren't allowed to build housing on that land because it was zoned for agricultural or other zoning purposes, and they did not have the right permits to build housing or residential on that land. So number two, forest land violations. The inspectors discovered over 900 cases of housing being built on forest lands, covering a span of 200 hectares. They only pressed charges on roughly over 200 cases, which only accounts for 30%. There are 70 more percent of cases that were not filed. Additionally, over 300 cases of encroachment into national forest lands that have not been completely resolved. This shows a lack of proper management, thus not being able to determine the origins of over 1,000 hectares of land being used by the people. Number three, misuse of public land. The inspectors also discovered that the People's Committee, similar to a county in the United States, had leased over 800 square meters of land, also over 2,000 square meters for office use, and also 220 square meters to civil and public officials. In total, they were able to collect 1.5 billion VND of lease rent, but they did not remit that to the government, which is a violation of the law. Also, the government removed 7 out of 40 illegally built structures in the Phu Quoc Marine Protected Area. These consisted of houses and bungalows that are roughly built on 1,200 square meters. In October of 2022, many of these illegal constructions and buildings received a notice to take down the buildings. And as of right now, in roughly September, October, 14 structures were removed due to these violations. And about 63 villas that have been built illegally on the 2 main areas. One is the beachfront, and then 2 are certain protected marine lands. It also consists of many bungalows along the beach and also a 12-story hotel. 5 years ago, about 79 illegal villas were built. Each one were roughly about 250 to 300 square meters, accounting for over 19 hectares of encroachment. Many of these developers have been invited and asked by the local government to cooperate, to take down or bring into compliance, but they have not responded. This begs the question, why are Phu Quoc authorities allowing these properties to be built if they are not legal? So the situation can be prevented by stopping the developers from actually developing in the first place. So it's really public knowledge that many of the projects in Phu Quoc developed by some of the large companies like Novaland, Vin Group, Sun Group, BIM Group, and those are the main developers out there that have built houses that are too expensive, that have been built on land that is considered public land, and people can't really afford it because due to the demand of the locals there, the income, and also the investors coming in. So really, Phu Quoc is building very similar to China of things that people cannot afford or want to buy. This situation likely occurred due to under-the-table transactions with government officials. To address this issue, the Yin Yang Inspection Department suggested taking actions against 10 organizations or groups, 45 different officials in the government, including 28 high-ranking leaders or heads of different communes, and also 17 district officials during that time period. So in my opinion, I believe that there's a lot of issues with Phu Quoc that may be special from other regions around Vietnam because Phu Quoc is becoming a special administrative zone. Also, there are a lot of tourism and entertainment in Phu Quoc that may not be permitted elsewhere. So if you see Phu Quoc, it's divided into 3 main regions. Vin Group in the north, BIM Group in the central, and Sun Group in the south, which are 3 very strong powerhouses in the development of Vietnam. But also, they are known to have been highly connected to the government. So therefore, when you have such power, and also you have monies in order to develop, then that creates a lot of problems, whether you're developing honestly or you're developing realistically. But the situation causes issues that they have rights to the land, they have project plans in place, but they're really not in a rush to develop until the tourists come back. So without any tourists going to Phu Quoc, charging high prices, not giving good services, charging higher for flights to come to Phu Quoc has caused all the big developers to not want to do anything. And they can just sit on the land itself. And that's the main reason why I feel that there's a lot of illegal activities or encroachment on public lands or forest lands in Phu Quoc because it's been created as a special administrative zone and creates a whole slew of problems that we talked about before. And in my opinion, that's the main reason why Phu Quoc has so many violations that have not been addressed, and I believe there will be continued violations as long as there are no tourists or low tourist numbers to encourage the developers to develop based on their plans. So what are the potential impacts to the Vietnam economy? So due to the illegal construction and also misuse of public lands, it causes many issues that can impact the Vietnam economy. For example, impact to the local economy in Phu Quoc. So you have a lot of these unfinished houses that are very ugly, dilapidated, and also unsafe. So if you're a tourist driving to a particular area, for example, if before you get to the Vin Group properties, then you would drive through this area that is very ugly, abandoned, and then there's nobody around. So you're thinking it's very unattractive and probably not very friendly. So that is one big impact to the tourism industry and the related services because of these unfinished, illegal houses. Secondly, investor confidence. Illegal construction and also lax enforcement of the building codes and the laws will deter investors from investing into these projects in Phu Quoc because they don't have certainty and they're worried about protection of their properties as well. This will definitely deter many of the foreign investors and even the local investors to continue developing in Phu Quoc. Also, there's a lot of waste of resources. So the resources that the local government needs to put in to dismantle or to identify and renovate these particular projects, they could have used this money more effectively in investing or assisting building infrastructure for the legitimate projects that are being developed. So with that, you're deterring or diverting good money into putting places that you shouldn't have to by working with these illegal structures. And as always, a big concern in Vietnam is the rule of law. If there is uneven, unequal, or lax enforcement of the rule of law, foreign investors and locals as well will not have the certainty and also the risk management they need in order to complete a project. So by not enforcing the law or enforcing it properly, the local government is deterring investors from market entry, growth, and diversification. So the impacts on the local property market. Unoccupied or unfinished homes would make it appear to have an inflated market of oversupply, but in reality, people are not living in there, they're not consuming, and they're not actually a real demand for that property because it was illegal and it's unoccupied. So with that said, many of the locals, even though there seems to be construction of homes, the locals cannot afford it because that's not a real supply, and then it can't meet the actual demand of the locals in Phu Quoc. And finally, the biggest impact to Phu Quoc is the tourism. Phu Quoc is an island destination with beautiful beaches, mountains, and different resorts. So if you have ugly, unfinished, unoccupied homes, it will impact dramatically the tourism that comes in. Even right now, I'm hearing that there's a lot of rumors about inflated prices, mistreatment of foreigners, increase in prices of airfare, food, travel, and accommodations 2 to 3 times what the regular prices are. That impacts dramatically, especially now with the social media. People will not come to Phu Quoc just for tourism. If you don't come for tourism, you will not come for investments. And that is just the cycle of developing a particular area. So Phu Quoc has a lot of issues with tourism, and it may impact them dramatically on the development side. And also a side impact is the use of government resources. So instead of putting government resources or limited resources to housing projects, welfare, or social activities, the government is required to put out monies in order to dismantle, identify violations, and also to work with these unscrupulous developers to try to finish or demolish their projects. So it's not the best use of government resources in Phu Quoc. So how can future buyers prevent themselves from getting in this situation? So the first thing you gotta look at is finding a reputable real estate agency. You can get referrals from your friends, your family, and personal trusted advisors for referral so that you know that that particular real estate agency is legitimate and professional. Also, you want to make sure that that agency is fully licensed as a brokerage and that real estate agent also has a license in order to buy and sell properties as well. So legitimate agencies will have transparency in their fees, their costs, and their procedures. They will let you know upfront how much it will cost for you to sell or to buy a property, closing costs, transactional, and notary costs as well. Also, looking at the reputation of the agency, they should have in-depth knowledge of the local neighborhood, the local city, the surrounding areas, walkability, schools, businesses, and other economic impacts on your particular property. So specialized, localized knowledge is crucial. Communication is key, and effective communication on the listing details, the sales price, any offers or counter offers by the buyer and seller, and also constantly keeping you updated of the market trends, listings, and market price as well. And finally, make sure that you review the purchase and sale agreement, the notary documents, and also any conditions precedent to the purchase. Read them very carefully, understand them, and if you need help, our legal team can help you as well to fully understand all the terms and conditions within the real estate transactions. So you need to ensure that all the legal documentation is proper and legitimate by both the landowner and also the developer. The first document is the grant deed. In Vietnam, it's called either the red book for land or the pink book for properties attached to the land. It's crucial that you take a look at these documents and view them as well so that you know the legality of them and the different information that is contained in that particular document. Second is you got to look at the land use and zoning regulations for that particular property. It may be a house that is built on there. However, if you look at the surrounding areas, it's in agricultural or in an industrial zone, you got to make sure that the people are not building illegally on that or out of the zoning requirements. So make sure you take a look at the zoning restrictions and also the use of that particular property you want to buy. Two other items you want to consider is to do a property survey, which actually gives you a full outline of what is contained within the properties, the boundaries, how many floors, the square meters. And then, of course, we would highly recommend you actually do a property valuation so you know that you're paying the right price for that particular property in that neighborhood based on its specifications. And finally, you want to look at the permits and approvals. Make sure that the 4 stories or the 5 stories have been approved, all the setbacks and also the regulations have been approved. And also, if you're looking to renovate or build on top of the existing structure, make sure that you get the proper approvals as well. So if you need help to end the hassle of being able to identify a property, find a good real estate agent, and then also find the best development for you at affordable prices in the best locations, then don't hesitate to contact our team of experts in legal and in real estate to help you find your property. But I have to actually mention again, remember that foreigners are not allowed to own land in Vietnam. As a matter of fact, Vietnamese cannot even own land. It's only constructive ownership and use of the land. So as a foreigner, you have a 50-year lease on the property and it's renewable for another 50 years, is what we call 99 years. Nevertheless, that is sufficient enough for most foreigners in order to have a property in Vietnam. But if you wish to own both the house and also the land, then you would need Vietnamese citizenship. So make sure that you call, email us, and then we'll give you a step-by-step guide and assist you on how to get your Vietnamese citizenship. And if you are also looking to buy real estate in Vietnam coming up, we made a step-by-step guide on how to buy real estate in Vietnam. So click on the right-hand corner for more information about how to buy a piece of real estate in Vietnam. So with the issue of illegal construction in Phu Quoc has a dramatic impact on the local economy, investor confidence, rule of law, and also future investment in Phu Quoc. Therefore, I believe and we believe that the provincial government needs to mitigate and address these issues in order to continue to attract more investment into Phu Quoc and also the completion of current projects that have been approved already. So thank you very much for watching this video on the Phu Quoc illegal construction project. But as always, on behalf of Duong Global, my name is Ken Duong. Thank you very much for watching this video. But make sure you like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment below about your thoughts on the Phu Quoc residential market, and also click on the bell for notifications. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.